fine, and it does matter, but it doesn't
do what you
change
want.
where we're at right now.
You do what you want, I'm just trying to help the village,
I
and,
don't think there's anyone sitting here that wants to do
you know,
anything.
I'm
You'd
looking
much
out for my
rather
friend,
say,
that's why I came
no, we'll
out
get
with
along
this
better
phone
next
call.
year. But, you know, it's our responsibility to,
Well,
in it, yeah,
maybe you
I
need to
would-
set some laws for
I
him.
really don't want to do
Maybe
it.
some laws need to be set for him, and he needs to
I don't know what
follow
choice
them
we
and
got.
not come up here and
I
try
really
to
don't.
change them all the time and fight with you guys. You guys sit around talking about this park for 30, 40 minutes.
You're
It
right.
should be just done. And he's constantly trying to fight you guys, so, I mean.
But that
I'm
still
just
doesn't
getting
change
myself
where we're
upset.
at
I'm
on
just-
this point. I mean, lots of other things enter into all this.
You never
Right.
seen that with the other camp
But we're
managers.
still right back to the same point of what this motion is about right now.
But is banning him from the campground permanently the correct method of action for that?
Well,
Would it be something better to say, you know what, we're gonna give you, we want to stay away for a year, and then see, I'm just saying, is there other options, something else?
I thought
Hey,
about
you
that
know, you're
too.
gonna if you wanna camp, you can camp for a month, but you gotta be up on the hill where you're away from Lyle. Because it just seems everything revolves around Lyle. As George said, we spend 45 minutes to an hour every meeting from May till November discussing campground stuff that we've already discussed the prior year.
okay, but it wouldn't make any difference if we never had a problem with it, or
I
if
agree with what
if
you're
the
saying.
threat was to anybody else, it wouldn't make any difference.
I agree with what you're saying.
Who-
If
who the
there-
threat
we
is
have to
to,
look
doesn't
at
make
it
any
as there was a
difference.
threat. I agree with that.
Can I ask
Not
this
gonna-
It's
question?
still bad.
Who pushed, once the police report was brought in, who pushed to get him banned? Whose idea was it to do that? Did you read the report? Are you the one that wanted to take the action?
I don't
Okay,
believe so.
thank you.
I think Scott may have brought it to me and says this is what
He's
happened,
got to give you his business all the time, tell you what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
usually.
Right.
Sometimes I don't ask, because
I
I
think I
don't think
know
it's
who
none
did.
of it. Yeah.
I honestly would just like to see the council, I agree with Bill, do the responsible thing. In my mind, the responsible thing is to seek legal advice, written, documented, before you take an action that's more than likely gonna get you sued, and your attorney's gonna walk up to you and say, why didn't you seek my advice before you did? That's all I'm saying. I think you need legal advice. It looks to me like if you take this action, you are gonna get sued.
You
I
got
would
6
think the
months to-
responsible thing to do is have well-documented legal advice going into that decision. And it's not like the park's still open, he's still there. You have time to do it.
When you went to Brian with this after last month, did you ask his opinion on it, or did you just say, hey, we want Mike out of our campground permanently? I mean, was there?
I said we passed a motion to ban a campground and never mentioned his name to protect him. And he said that won't work. He said, you can ban anybody from anywhere in your village. That's your prerogative. But his name had to come into the program. Because an attorney would come in and say, who are you talking about? Didn't mention his name, so how do we know it's him?
Okay.
So that's why this had to be done. That was his advice. That's the advice that I received from the attorney. He wrote the motion and the trespass after warning. So I thought we did seek advice.
He read the police report and he come up with the same conclusion you did, or did he write
I
that?
can't answer
make
if
it a
he
legal
did that or
document?
not.
Or did he, well, that's, see, don't you think you should know that before you? Did you give him the police report?
No. he did not.
Does he know that Mike O'Prey was never interviewed again over this? That he left his
Probably
camper and everything here thinking he was coming back, that everything was fine and dandy? And he lives in Illinois? I moved his camper over to my place. He left here under the impression that everything was fine. I actually took his gun that day to my house. Lyle actually told another camper, my nephew, he bought a gun at garage sale that he couldn't have in the park. He doesn't even know his own rules, let alone being enforced.
So if new information does come to light, we could rescind the ban. If
We
something
can
came,
We can rescind it just as easy as we put it on.
Yes, we can.
I think you could then, I mean,
You can.
why it's through the hornet's nest? Why not make it right the first time, like I say? Get somebody to look into it. What's the problem with doing that? Look into the whole thing, interview everybody that's involved in this, and then say, okay, no, it wasn't that big a deal. It was just two old guys arguing in the park again. And then come up with a set of rules and make sure that he comes and gets a hold of you immediately. You take action immediately on something that's serious. You don't wait. You're talking about
I
messing
believe
up
our
a man's
police chief did
livelihood.
interview everybody concerned with the complaint.
You're talking about, you must have a man's livelihood that's came here over 40 years and spent and paid for the whole summer in that park. And spends money around his community.
And we certainly took that into consideration the first time. And, you know, and my point is, it just seems to be escalating. How long do we wait?
All I'm asking is don't make a decision. You don't have to make a decision.
I know.
He's not here, he's in Chicago,
You know, we're still discussing that, but,
you know? Have somebody look into it. Look into it and look into it. I'm just asking.
Well, Scott already interviewed both parties involved.
There's 4 parties involved.
It was a quick, they didn't, I would like to see those men do written statements and turn them in.
If we can't.
I would like to see Lyle do a written statement and turn it in.
well, then maybe you'll want sworn statements after that. And
No,
maybe you'll
well,
want,
If somebody goes
jury
through
trial.
them, that,
You know.
independent. Okay, what about Mike's statement? He didn't know he was gonna get blindsided. Why wasn't he brought in and say, hey, Mike, we think this is serious? Why wasn't he interviewed before this?
Police chief interviewed him.
He took a complaint.
He interviewed Mike.
Mike had no idea that you were gonna do this 3 weeks later.
We didn't know about it then.
You guys do what you want.
Any further discussion?
We have a motion on the floor.
We do, in front of us in written form. I don't think anybody has said anything up to this point.
I make a motion to table it, I would second it.
Okay,
I'll support that,
what, table?
table.
Got a motion to table with the support, any further discussion?
Okay, you bring back when, you table this all winter or whatever,
Next month, December.
a month?
what's gonna happen between now and next month?
Who's gonna look into it more?
So who's gonna look into it more? I wanna be very
Ask
clear.
or get advice from Brian Graham.
Okay.
Have him read the police report, say, Brian, is this the correct thing for us to do? What is your advice as our attorney?
Okay.
I mean, I just, if he sues us, I just hate to see us go through that. I'm just asking, like,
But can he legally sue us, and we have the right to prohibit him from
Yeah,
coming
it's
in?
not a question whether we have the right to-
We don't have, he can't sue.
Yes, you can. Anybody with $10 can sue you, your attorney will tell you that. Take a $10 bill.
I don't know what kind of legal standing he would have. I don't know.
That's just it.
But yeah, he can sue us. I mean, it's,
But he wouldn't get any place with it.
I don't know that. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not,
What's
I don't
worse,
know.
him suing us or somebody getting hurt and
Somebody
And getting sued.
damage from that, you know? I think the latter.
I think Ken actually said it very well. He's not here right now. This isn't a time pressing issue. Why not take another month and have Brian Graham look at the
Thoroughly.
Thoroughly, look at it and say, yeah, you guys are doing the right thing,
We are insulated.
or no, hey, you're crazy, get it done now.
Rachel said that we're still holding his reservation, correct? It's still.
So I just want to be clear that a month ago, 7 people sat here and said, he's got to go. It's a dangerous situation, we can't avoid the risk. But 30 days later, we've got some hearsay and some more info, and now we're going to table it and talk about it for another, how long?
6 months.
No, you're gonna get legal advice. You guys are looking for a reason to ban somebody because you're mad at them, and honestly, I'm getting tired of hearing it all. I didn't elect people to act like this. I elected you to be responsible and do the responsible thing. It's seek legal advice before you go to court. I don't know how you can even still be talking about it. To say you're just gonna go to court because the man can't sue you, you're gonna get sued. Seek legal advice. To me, it's so simple, and you guys are beating it to death. Take time, get legal advice. The legal advice comes back, ban them, ban them. You have, like Rob said, you now have your attorney's legal advice. That's why you have a village
You're
attorney
beating
to
it to
consult
death
them.
too on that side.
Well, you're not listening.
No, I hope not.
No, it's different.
You've mouthed off ever since you've been here.
You said hearsay, but I remember somebody, when I watched tape last month, say there was a police called on him in a campground. And earlier today, in this meeting, it wasn't to go after him. He chose not to charge those people.
Okay. When you sign a contract for participation, you agree to abide by the rules. And that is rules say that at any time, the manager can ban you or kick you out, right? Then you don't have a leg to stand on.
I heard the rule read, it didn't say that.
So
Rob read
then,
it. Rob read the rule, it didn't say that.
No, is it in the agreement when you rent a lot?
If they break one of those rules in conjunction with the law enforcement office. I remember going through that because Brian Graham's advice was, do not allow your campground manager to ban people, make sure you take it through law enforcement channels. We made the rule.
So these rules should say you're not allowed to threaten to shoot anybody, and then he could be banned?
Well, it goes back to if he was truly threatening to shoot somebody, he should have been removed immediately by the police officer. But the police officer made the determination that he didn't feel it was threatening.
But you're assuming that I did that, but you're also assuming that it has to come to the village council, so I guess that was already stated, so.
I guess, I think we're
As a
spending
candidate,
some time and some money with a lawyer that, you know, now it's easy for me to say, I think it may be a waste of money with a lawyer, but we've spent money worse than that, why don't we do that? Why don't we go ahead and
I think we should.
give it to
seek
Brian?
legal advice.
what I would do is
See if
I'd
he-
modify your agreement to include the camp manager has the authority to kick anybody out at any time. If you wanted him to be your manager, he should be able to do so, regardless of whatever the conflict is.
But we're talking about banning him permanently, not just kicking him out of the park.
The rules say that he has the authority along with Scott to remove anybody, to evict campers.
And that was on your attorney's advice that Scott was involved. So we've been through that, is what I'm
So
saying.
it says- it
That's
says
old
that him
news.
and
We were
Scott
through
together
why that
have
rule's
the
there.
Authority to do that, but neither one of them have the authority to ban him permanently, and that's why it's all about.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
All right, so you should add that, to it on the thing.
Eviction's
It
not
is- it
safe.
is. Oh, I see what you mean. You should have it.
Change, from now on.
I think that should be a council move.
And besides that, does the camp manager really want to ban him?
I don't think
Can
that
you
way.
withdraw his complaint?
I don't know if he's the one who brought this forward, it came to us by Leila last month.
Yes, it did.
Leila was the one who
Camp
brought it up.
manager that did that?
No, he did not.
It was one of the campers?
It was one of the campers. I went down and talked to several campers, and 2 or 3 of them, and one of them in particular, she was so upset, she said, he had his dog, for instance, he had his dog running loose in the camp, was illegal. He had a little puppy that the dog charged him, and she had to grab the dog up, and he almost bit her. So these are things that he does in the campgrounds. And when there's another couple that she wouldn't come down to the lake to get in her boat, she made her husband take it around to the dock because she's afraid to go down there by him.
You're talking about stuff 2 years ago.
No, I'm talking about this year.
That's what I know.
Okay,
There's a motion on the
Okay,
Yeah, just-
yes, sir.
We're,
That's what I know with 2
good
years ago.
discussion though. So we're gonna,
There's a motion on the table to table
table
with the
this,
support.
table this
Table
till
it for 1
December.
month?
Consult with our village, and consult with the village attorney, have him read the police report and all this stuff, and make sure that we are doing this correctly.
Procedural.
That's all I'm looking for.
Okay.
I mean, if Brian comes back and says, yeah, you guys should be, absolutely, I'm
I
gonna be
mean,
right
we
behind
screwed
you.
it up the first time.
Yeah,
trying to protect the
I mean,
we got it.
the name.
yeah,
I thought we were being very fair in doing that,
I
but it
agree.
didn't hold up according to our attorney.
So are you voting?
Yes, I want to. All in favor of the motion to table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Abstain.
6 with 1 abstention. Appointment of clerk, treasurer, administrative assistant. This is my addition, and I'll find the paperwork. In our village code book, in chapter 1, under administration, ordinance number 1.5, ordinance number 4 of 2013, and ordinance to amend chapter 1, section 1.5 of the Village of Central Lake Code. The Village of Central Lake ordains, chapter 1, section 1.5 of the Village of Central Lake Code is hereby amended to read it in its entirety as follows. As authorized by section 1.3, chapter 2 of Act 3 of the Public Act of 1985, as amended MCL 62.13, the village clerk, village treasurer shall be chosen by nomination of the village president and appointment by a majority of the entire village council. The initial term of office for the village clerk, village treasurer shall be 90 days from the date such person takes and subscribes the oath of office and files it in the village clerk's office, together with the filing of any bond required by law, and until a successor is appointed. After the expiration of the initial term of office and any subsequent terms of office, the village clerk and village treasurer may be reappointed as provided in subsection 1 above for a term of office that ends contemporaneously with the term office of the village president, and until a successor is appointed, which generally will be 2 years, except when the first reappointment occurs during the term of office of the village president. Adoption, this ordinance shall be adopted by affirmative vote of at least 2/3 of the members of the village council. Severability, if any section, provision, or clause of this ordinance or the application thereof to any person or circumstances is held invalid, such invalidity shall not affect any remaining portions or applications of this ordinance, which can be given without invalid portion or application. Effective date. This ordinance shall take effect 45 days after the date adopted by the village council, unless a petition signed by not less than 10% of the registered electors of the village is filed with the village clerk within said 45-day period, in which case the ordinance takes effect upon approval at an election on the question. If a petition is filed within that time, within the time specified in subsection A above, this ordinance shall then take effect only upon its approval at the next general village or special village election held on the question of whether the ordinance shall be approved. Notice of the delayed effect of this ordinance and the right of petition under this section shall be published separately at the same time in the same manner as the ordinance. I approached Rachel tonight around 5 o'clock, and I said I was going to recommend to the council that we not renew her contract or her appointment effective November 20th, which is the end of the term for this term. And I gave her forewarning to do so. I offered that if she wanted to resign and didn't want to sit through this process, that was fine too. She would not be penalized through November 20th at midnight, which is when the term ends. Why did I do that? I did it primarily because for 2 years, I don't think she and I have had very good relations as far as the trust element is concerned. From day one, she never trusted what I was going to do here. And I think the responsibility of that is the coaching that she received prior to even meeting me. I said, based on what's gone on in the last month, I'm saying this to myself, I said, I don't think I can continue with that type of relationship between her and I, because that individual, whoever holds that position, and myself, pretty much have to communicate trustfully. So I bring this to the council, and it's my recommendation that we do not reappoint Rachel Anttia as village clerk, village treasurer at the end of this period, effective November 20th.
So for 2 years, you knew that, or you felt there was no trust? Is that correct?
For 2 years, I tried to develop a trust.
Okay. Was this ever brought to the personnel department, or personnel committee? That would be Joe, Bill, and Brian. Are you three aware of this? No. Brian? Bill?
I know you had some trust issues, yes.
Okay, was that ever brought to Rachel? Was she ever allowed to work on that issue of trust? Were the three of you ever sat down and said, like a workplace would do, allow for mediation and correction?
I'll take that back. I knew Larry and Rachel had issues the last 2 years with trust and maybe some things that had gotten out that probably should have been confidential.
Do we have a performance evaluation?
No, we do not. Doesn't say in the ordinance that we need one, doesn't say there's any reason,
And I'll-
other than it just runs with the term. But it does what?
I do believe there is something I'd have to find out again about performance evaluations, and I believe it's in the employee handbook.
We've talked about employee evaluations and had a form made here. I think I probably brought it up, we've discussed this. Now, my question is this is an at-will position?
Yes.
So why,
It's an appointed position.
but if Larry doesn't recommend to appoint person A or person B, that's his prerogative. I'm asking, that's a question.
According to this ordinance, I
Ordinance.
believe that is the case.
So, well, we'll stay on that topic for a moment, then I've got the next.
Okay.
So now, she's also the administrative assistant, correct?
Correct,
And she's an employee, right?
correct.
Would you still stay on to do that job?
I'm not sure that she would want to, if
Well,
she would until November 20th, in which point in time.
Handbook for General Law and Village
Yeah.
Officials, page 76.
Yeah.
Terminating employees, minimizing the risk. First sentence, terminating an employee is potentially risky business and may expose an organization to a variety of legal claims.
Did you tell her today when you came in and done this, that one of the reasons that you were firing her was because you believed, or that you wanted to fire her, was that you believe she orchestrated the write-ins against you on the ballot? You didn't say that?
I did not say that.
That's not
No, I
what this
didn't.
is about. Larry has the right to make his choice. It's not, I don't think, up to 6 of us to grill Larry over his choice. Is it?
Well, to make it, well, we have to vote on it.
We vote on it, but
But it's not, if he doesn't want to appoint Rachel or someone else, I mean, that's the president's prerogative.
yes.
You can ask questions, but don't know where
Yeah.
Just gathering information.
This ordinance specifies definitely that he has the right to do this.
Oh, no, and I'm just reading also, that she's also has another thing too,
This
so.
is the amended one.
This is only for.
This is published by the Michigan Municipal League.
This is for clerk treasurer. This is clerk treasurer. It does not address the administrative assistant.
No.
Well,
That is true.
Michigan law, Virginia law, not very similar, but when you're an at-will person, and you say, you don't have to come up with any explanation. Dave and Larry come up with an explanation, they really have to. Because if you're at-will, that means you can dismiss.
But as an employee, Larry himself doesn't have the ability to fire her. It's the board who has to fire her. This only pertains to the clerk treasurer and him making a nomination for her.
If he doesn't, I don't know exactly, I haven't seen that in front of me, I just know that at-will means at-will.
All our employees are at-will employees.
I don't think this is right, Larry. I think you've been out to get her since day one. I think you've proven that when you tried to cut her pay when you first come in. I think
I haven't been out for her since day one.
I believe you have.
From the time I walked in the door, she was coached to think that I was gonna come after her, and I bent over backwards to not give her an excuse for me to go after her. And I just believe that to continue down the path for another 2 years, I don't think it's a healthy relationship for either one of us. And since I've been elected to sit here for another 2 years, that ordinance gives me authority to do that, which was passed in 2013 by a gentleman in this room.
It's not, it's a state law, Larry, get your facts right, okay? It's an MCL statute, okay? Don't put words in other people's mouths. First, I think what you're doing is about the most chicken shit thing I've ever seen done out of an adult. You sat her all these years, you had a problem, bring it up, talk to her. You're doing the same damn thing you did in the park with Mike. You wanna get sued? Get sued, okay? What you're doing, it's, I can't even believe an adult acts like that, Larry.
Do we have to have?
You have a problem with her?
For this?
How many hours a week do you spend in the office with her? Answer that, how many?
Doesn't matter how many.
Yes, it does, because you have a personal conflict with her, you're never in the damned office.
I just have one
You know,
question.
hang on one second. Ken, you know what Rachel said to me when I first started? I sat in there for 3 or 4 hours one day and she says, "Why are you here?" I said, "Because I have a job to do. I was hired to do it." But she felt threatened.
Well, then you should feel bad as being an adult who threatens your employee.
For sitting in on an office.
If he gave her a threatening feeling, you think he would have addressed it then, wouldn't you? If you had an employee live who
I
felt
did
threatened by you,
address
wouldn't
it.
you
I
talk to
said I
the
have
employee
every
about
right
it?
to be here.
Deal
If
with
they
it?
sat in my office for 3 hours, I wouldn't feel threatened.
The point is, if your employee did feel threatened, you would deal with it,
I'm just saying.
right? I mean,
I'm
you would
just
have a
saying.
discussion with that employee at that point in time and deal with it, or address it at that
It
moment.
depends on the situation. The thing between you and me is between Larry and Rachel.
So there's no mediation, you feel that you can't even work with this, or with Rachel at all? It's over and done with, divorce, done.
I think he made it clear it's what happened over the last month. If I would've never ran, she would still have her job. That's my personal opinion.
I can't believe that, because in the last 2 years, you know, I've written down problems. I didn't come here with a stack of complaints that I've heard from other people, but I can't believe that Larry's just doing this willy-nilly. I don't believe that. I don't
I don't
support
think it's
that.
willy-nilly. I think it's vindictive and he's been planning it.
That's your,
You know, that's an opinion,
That's what I
John,
think.
we've all
you're
got.
privileged to an opinion, but he does have the right to do what he's
This lady
doing.
back there had her hand.
He's really had, my only question was, something that you said during the whole thing, and then again here, because you're talking 2 different positions. She has 2 positions
She
that
has
she's
a-
getting paid for salaries on both?
She has a village clerk and treasurer / appointed position, and then we created an administrative position so she could do some additional work for other departments in the village.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
To say we haven't had issues along the way, last December, I told her to go home. She had just had a baby, and she was at work 2 days later, and I said, "That's not healthy." That wasn't out of vindictiveness, that was out of compassion. The lady just had a baby.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Shame on you for not having a policy in effect when you knew she was pregnant for 9 months. You knew she was gonna have that baby, and you didn't have a policy in place to protect her to be home with her baby. So she did, out of her obligation to her job, shows up. And then, oh, well, it doesn't look good, so we better send her home. Shame on you for not having that in
It
place.
did not look
Which
good.
then was an illegal act by you too, because you didn't have the authority to send her home on the basis that you did for the period of time that you did. It took 3 of us off this council talking to her to not fight with you then, and talking her down to stay there and make it work. That was illegal when you did that.
Maybe she felt threatened at her job then, that's why she stayed. Turn it around.
I just think you're wrong with this.
Turn everything around.
Sounds to me like he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't.
Yeah, pretty much
I
that's
mean,
the
that's what I'm
job.
getting out of all this.
We hear a lot from Joe Bodley about Tyler, and Melissa, about Brian, Bill.
I didn't hear it.
Well, I wants to know what you guys
What
think.
you guys do.
Well,
It really doesn't make any difference if the president makes the appointment and he doesn't want to do that. He wants to appoint somebody else, what are we gonna do?
It just makes a nomination, we make the one.
Well, yeah,
You're correct,
nomination.
you're correct.
The nomination for the appointment, I don't know what else we're gonna do.
Well, it must be pretty severe that he brings it to you at the last hour, because obviously none of you had any time to think about this except for the last hour. But some of you got information beforehand what he was gonna do. I assume he gave you this information all at the same time.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So you had 1 hour to look into something. Once again, you're gonna vote on, like she brought Mike in at the last hour. So you guys need to think about some of the actions. I'm curious.
I think our office has run smoother than it ever has run. I think it's more organized. We've got information that we've never had before. We've got cleaner budgets. Everything is there. I'm
date on the campground,
Absolutely, I don't think.
I think-
DPW director
think
just
that
stated
we
that
need to
it's,
offer challenges on both sides. Joe says how great it is, somebody else might say how great it's not. So the conjecture, Bill is right. It's Larry's choice. Larry appoints. We either say yes or no for that person. If he doesn't want to appoint, he doesn't want to appoint.
But I think it's important that people understand, it's not any of her performance. I don't know of anybody on this board that would say that she hasn't been, without question, the very best we've ever had in here. As good as we could ask for. I don't think you could ask for any better. Now, whether Larry and her trust could be rebuilt, I doubt it. It doesn't seem like that to Larry. And I don't know what we're arguing about. Larry makes the appointment, or the nomination, so.
Well, I've only been back on the board for a year, and I've told Rachel many times what a great job she does. So I'm looking at it 2 ways. To me, it's, what should I say, that's without making somebody mad. It's almost like going back to Lyle and Mike, if you look at it that way. I think Rachel should have time to comment on that. And I think I've been involved with other village clerks, treasurers, whatever you want to call them. And she, you know, here we're telling her what a fantastic job she does. And then in the other sentence, we're going to vote to eliminate her. I have a difficult time with that.
Has Larry supplied document proof of what he's talked about, the trust issues when they happen?
He doesn't have to in this.
He doesn't have to do anything
He
like
found a
that.
loophole in the ordinance.
I was on the council at the time when we did extensive interviews of at least 7 candidates. Spent multiple hours. She was by far heads above them all. There wasn't a day that anything you ever needed, she had it ready. And I never seen a flaw at that time. I'm not on the council obviously anymore. Brian's got my chair.
You want it back?
Yeah, tonight, this is the first time back, I was trying to laugh. But I'm a supervisor for a company that had, I have 19 people under me. I can't trust half of them, but I sure in the hell haven't fired them. because they still do a great job, whether we see eye to eye, we don't say goodbye, we don't spend time together on weekends. Dependability and loyalty is hard to come by, and she's loyal to this village. If you lose that gal, you cannot replace her in any amount of time. We're gonna go farther back, the campground's gonna fail. Everything is just a bad choice. And I got one other thing, and when you go to trust, Larry, when I was on the council, you basically encouraged us to give a 6-foot easement to a gentleman to rebuild a building behind the post office. Put a roof on it, brought it to the board, this gentleman like 6 foot, he rebuilt the building. Who's got it listed? You. I think that is a personal conflict to this village also.
The one across from the library.
Yes.
He's the real estate agent on record.
You brought that to the board at that time, and I'm not trying to be,
At that time, I didn't know that he was going to sell it.
I mean, even if you didn't know he was gonna sell it, when you approached you, you
I
said
don't remember
no.
what the easement was on.
I agree, I'm just bringing it up, I think that's kind of.
That is true though.
Then I must.
That is true. At the time they was building that he was redoing that building, he was not planning on selling.
I understand that, but even when he approached Larry to sell it for him, Larry should have said no.
Subject.
But that's, I gotta go, I'm sorry.
Larry,
That has
I'd
nothing
like
to
to
do
ask
with
you to
what we're doing
reconsider
now.
this.
Good luck, Rachel.
I wanna,
Appoint her, nominate her back, and sit down and talk to her and work with her. Try to work through the issues instead of blindsiding her like this. Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Maybe both of you come together in some kind of happy meeting. Again, all of us agree she does a great job. Give her a chance. Please.
The issue that I have is, this isn't a job that you hire somebody off the street and Monday morning they start.
Very specific.
Running the machine.
you have a three-year recovery to fill that seat to get it back where it's running right now.
It's not a job that you hire somebody on. I would like Rachel to be able to have a comment. If she would like to. If she doesn't like to, want to, that's her choice.
I think the trust issue lies with Larry. I don't have anything against you. I'm very open with you. Every time you come into the office, I share everything that's gone on with that day and the days before where you haven't come in. This is news to me that you don't trust me. I share everything with you. If anybody brings anything to me, I share it with you.
Again, I ask you to reconsider Larry and make a nomination.
We'll move on to the next two action items. We'll come back to it. President Pro Tem, I'd like to nominate Bill Chapman for the next 2 years.
I'll make that a motion.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Need a motion to approve Donaldson's Medicare supplement? Oh, that already passed.
We already did
Yeah,
that.
we already done that.
Okay, we're back to. Okay, Rachel, I'm not perfect by any stretch. And if you're willing to work, I'm willing to work. But we'll have to have some discussion.
Should there be a third party there? You two have mutually picked somebody, maybe Brian. Would that help?
President Pro Tem.
What about an independent?
It's a
Yeah,
trust
and
issue
there you
between the
go.
two.
An
That's
independent,
a
if it's
terrific
not part of the
idea.
council.
An independent?
Are you interested?
That'll teach you to talk from that side of the desk.
It needs to be somebody that doesn't know anything about it. It needs to be fresh eyes. I'm pretty sure Carol has been to every meeting and you know what's, so I would suggest someone not in this room.
Okay.
Independent, totally.
Well, I guess it's up to Larry,
That's
not
up
us.
to
We're
Larry
talking
and
to
Rachel
Larry.
to do. I hope they would work on it and do exactly that.
Now, let's say they have a meeting tomorrow and Larry just says, I just don't think this is gonna work, Rachel. What happens next? Do we wait till another month to go back to this, or the deadline
He's
is
just
suggested on the
asking
We'll
20th?
cross that bridge when we get there. We'll have discussion.
That's what he's asking right now, that she's willing to work with him and meet with him and.
Rachel, are you willing to sit down with a third party and?
Thank you, Larry.
Are you willing to sit down one-on-one?
Go to breakfast, the village will pick up the tab.
Now, you can't,
No, you can't do that.
Bob, you can't do that, you can vote on it.
That's right, that's right, a bunch of cherry items, doggone it.
Rob's picking up the tab.
Jennifer,
I would.
Take it all
we
about
saved
it.
you for the end again.
Why you guys are still here?
I know.
What was that, Joe? Joe, what?
Joe asked if I was gonna make a nomination for her, and I said, no, we're gonna discuss things first.
So does the deadline of 11/20, is that
That's
what's,
when the terms end and the new term begins.
so we need to call a special meeting, or what's?
Possibly, depends on what happens.
Do you have to have a vote on that?
No,
Okay,
You
so then
never
he
made a
could go
motion?
ahead and do it
Oh,
without a
no,
vote.
there's not been a
we
motion.
never made a motion.
There's not a motion, there's no voting.
No, but I
required.
say, does it have to have
It
a
doesn't
vote?
need to be a vote.
According to that, you
Once
don't
he
have
makes
to
a
have a
nomination.
vote.
Once he makes a nomination, then we have to.
He
vote
makes the
to support it.
recommendation to the council.
Of the,
Right, but if he chooses to not make
Yeah.
a recommendation, there's no need for any of us to vote on that.
There's nothing to vote on.
Right.
And there won't be any issue with the 20th because it states here that the term of office ends with the term of office of village president and until a successor is appointed, which generally is two, so she would keep her job until,
till you find somebody else.
if he don't appoint, if he comes back next month and doesn't want to appoint, she still
Then
has
she
her
still
job
has her
until, that's the way it reads.
So he makes a nomination.
Jennifer,
Yes, sir.
what would you like to comment on the park at all?
It looks great now.
No.
You see suspicious people stealing your wallet?
And I apologize, I don't email out to everybody, so I hope that the emails that I've been sending do get distributed to the council. TJM has been a challenge for Sam and I, to continue to work with and just maintain a level of quality. But Sam's been great as, eyes and ears for me. Blaine Scheller, you've probably seen in the area as our inspector, who's been out watching progress, doing the testing. And I did want to bring to the council's attention, we had some challenge with the path, as far as working with the contractor to have an understanding of how to read a set of plans and specs, that's pretty common. But I think, we did get there. We did have some shortage on some of the aggregate that he was to install, but just from, what we looked at with the site, as far as functionality, Sam had indicated that this is the driest he's ever seen of the park and just watching the grading, so, with that, and then there was some question with the quality of the paving. He used a contractor that was less, his subcontractor was less than desirable, and like any contractor, they like to wait till the end of the year when the asphalt plants are getting ready to close to do the paving, so so our inspector was out there and with Sam and working quite diligently with them to get it, to get the paving. There are, I have some concerns, like I said, functionality-wise, it works. He's definitely made a huge intent with restoration, to clean it up and maintain the drainage and the aesthetic that we were looking for. But, I do have a few concerns, as far as there's some separation of some of the aggregate, and I know Rob, you were out on site to explain some of that. So, as an added measure for the village, because I have really no reason to ask him to tear it all up. Because it functionally works, we are getting a good base in restoration, but an added measure for the village, just because I want him to stand behind his product, and because of the wet conditions, I had, my recommendation to you guys is to ask for a 5-year extended warranty on the path and have that associated with his bond. So in the event that he does go out of business, you maintain that insurance level. Now, it's not something that per se I can force him to do, but I very strongly negotiated with him that if he doesn't accept that condition along with providing the credit back for some of the aggregate that he did not provide, that you aren't gonna accept the path, and he may run the risk of the trust fund agency not accepting the path because it wasn't built exactly per the detail, even though it does work. Because, you know, as much as I hate to say it, engineers do over-design things. But, so he is agreeable to want to meet those conditions, which I know definitely will provide the village level quality that you need. Does that make sense to everyone? I don't know, has everybody had an opportunity to go out there and look at it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I met Sam down there one day, I've looked at it a couple times since then. And the two issues that I have is the quality is not up. Sam and I, the quality was bad.
The paving.
I agree, absolutely.
The boardwalk is fantastic.
I agree, I know.
So, they pave it, why, number one is, why didn't he wait till spring? Number two, he paved it, and then he drove his excavator
Yeah.
all over that thing all day
Yeah.
long. So now there's about 2 inches of dirt packed down on the top of the asphalt. Is he gonna remove all that?
He is going to
You know,
go through.
what did that excavator do to the asphalt?
Well, and that's why, because I
I
know,
think before he did the sides, I thought he was gonna tear it all back out for the second time.
well, that was the option I gave him, was to, because there is some of that separation of the aggregate, and we have this happen all the time.
The paving that he did up by the new bathhouse,
That's all getting removed. That's separate,
I mean, the walking path is not gonna have much weight on it,
correct.
just so.
Oh,
people-
no, I'm sorry, let me clarify, and that's kind of Rob had indicated. Everything that's within the drivable lane, within the road, is not accepted at all.
Yeah.
He already knows that, I've already told him that, we walked it, it's not accepted. And what was discussed was, in lieu of him cutting that and repaving it again in the spring, the discussion was, well, why don't, if the village has some funds available, why don't we just pave the whole limits of the road? And he would provide back the deduct for his cost of paving, he would also remove what he did place down there, and then he would be responsible for grading. So he would provide that credit back to the village for that portion. So anything that vehicles are gonna drive on is not staying, that is not accepted at all. Just because, I mean, you can walk on it and you can brush your feet and the aggregate, it's just, so that area definitely has a very, very obvious poor level of quality that's not accepted specifically. for
I thought he
vehicles.
tore it back out, and last Saturday I went down there, well, it's got 2 inches of dirt packed down on it, that's why I thought he tore it out.
Well, I thought it was a cold patch, honestly. I thought that was temporary, and he said, no, that's gonna stay, and I said, no, it's not. So, no, I agree wholeheartedly. So anything that's within the vehicle, it's the path that I'm talking about that's gonna actually have the 5-year warranty.
What
So
if he goes out of business?
that's why it's linked with the maintenance bond. That's because he actually has to pay for that, and it is a contract that you retain with his maintenance bond directly. Because I've had that same thing, you live and learn, I've had that same thing happen too, so, so this provides you definitely, if, with freezing, thawing, and the quality of the asphalt, you will know within a year or two if that asphalt doesn't hold up. So definitely a 5 years way above and beyond. So I'm just talking about with respect to the path, anything in the road is gonna be removed, and that will be fixed.
Can I just ask a question? Rather than do that, and then have asphalt you don't like the looks of, or that may break, why don't you just make him do what he was contractually obligated to do?
Because we're trying to work with him.
We're trying to work with them, and
That's when you get into problems. I'm saying he was under contract to supply you with a certain service, he didn't do it. You know, I mean, I'm just thinking, why don't you make him uphold his terms of the contract? And avoid the problem of a year and a half later, it breaks, it falls apart, he says, no, I'm not gonna take care of it. I mean, I think you have.
But his bond covers that for us.
well, and how I left it with him, that's an option, and, you know, I do, basically, you know, just like Sam and I, we both work for the village, and we're gonna do what the village advises us to do. You definitely have the ability to do that, but there are situations, as far as functionality and structure and the integrity of the path, it's fine. Part of it's just, there is some few portions where it's a aesthetic item, where you can actually see some aggregate. You know, you're not getting the level of paving you get from an Elmer's.
Yeah, okay. With a bond, you can add to that the expense associated with correcting the bond issue. Is that his expense also?
Yes.
So in other words, you don't have to come up with the money to go after the bonding company who then investigates the problem, so that any attorney's fees and legal fees associated with correcting it, he's responsible for too. So you don't have to, you just make sure that's it.
Anything else?
What are you guys' thoughts on the path? Have you guys had an opportunity to walk it?
I've been down there and looked at it, and with the weight of that flat track, the rubber flat track hole, if that didn't damage it by now, with as much as he's been up and down it,
I know.
I mean, it would put dents in it or tear it up. If it hasn't done it, chances are.
I mean, aside from the drivable part that you had mentioned, just
Cosmetically,
the path itself.
putting the topsoil on the sides, that looks okay.
And
because he
he's
covered
not
a lot of
done.
that up.
He's still going through trimming the edges up.
And if you make this guy
Have
put
you
a
looked
five,
at it, Sam?
I've looked at it, I'm not happy, I was the first one to complain to Jennifer. Called her and said, who did the blacktops? Absolutely horrible. But,
Sam told me Jennifer won't even talk to him.
yeah, last time I sent Jennifer a text, I said, did you watch the World Series? That's how
No.
upset I was.
There was
But
4
aesthetically, I'm not happy with the way the blacktop looks. But, if the man's willing to put a 5-year bond up, your $150,000 blacktop job you just did from Reith and Riley has only got 1 year warranty. This guy's willing to put 5 years on that path. And as long as you're holding the bond, if something goes wrong with it, you just gotta go through the paperwork to get the money to fix it.
And it doesn't matter if he goes out of business. Right?
No, we talked about it in great lengths and details and what would be the best interest of the village.
I don't pave roads, so I'm gonna believe what you and Sam tell me.
Well, here's the deal, I don't know many people can take it, they didn't watch the whole thing happen and how you set the base and everything. Just by how pretty it is, or how ugly it is, you're not gonna be able to tell, so give it a 5-year thing. He doesn't want to tear it up.
No.
Yeah, just make it do it.
We're talking about the footpath, not the.
Correct.
Yeah, the others come down.
Hell no, it's a shitty job he did on that, excuse my French.
Who comes up with the cost of the maintenance bond? You?
It's 50% of the cost. Well, we have price for the path.
Okay, then you take 50% of that estimated
No, it'll be
cost.
for the full price of the path.
The full price of the path for
Right.
5 years?
For 5 years.
That's a no-brainer, people, you're guaranteed 5 years.
Jennifer,
We don't have a vote on it.
offhand, do you know how much that path was?
I don't.
How much the path was?
There's a big one.
It's within our budget.
I'll get it to you, I have it right here.
And I guess that's a lot of where I'm at. I know he's built a lot of these and he's willing, you know, you don't normally find contractors that do that.
He doesn't want to tear it back.
And it's a hard battle to fight with him contractually because it does work. You know, there's just, you know, a couple spots
He'll just
aesthetically.
open up under another name tomorrow.
If the DNR comes in and approves it, they're gonna make
He gets
payment.
that bond, you're fine.
Well, and that's ultimately the thing, and he knows that, is if the DNR comes in, and he recognized that by signing the contract, the DNR comes in and doesn't accept it, he doesn't get paid. That's the ultimate condition.
So then we wouldn't have to worry about the contract, he's gonna.
Exactly. And the DNR, I already know they're gonna accept it.
They'll accept it, it looks.
Now, are you doing a schedule of values on the AIA documents? So in other words, you're not releasing any more than the percentage?
No, it's not a lump sum contract. No, there's,
Everything's progress billing?
correct.
4,000.
Need a motion to adjourn.
I'll let the motion adjourn.
Is that moved and supported? All in favor, say aye. Motion's carried. Thank you all for
You don't have to come up here just for that.
Yeah.
So you go home with me, Doug, or your house?
No, you're coming up to the.
Oh, baby, baby.
Wait, Jennifer. So nice to meet you, because I feel like I know you so well.
Oh, yeah, I heard wonderful things. I know.